Hello, how are you?
I was clicking around and I couldn't find how to click this back.
How are you doing today?
So it's Tuesday, cookie
Hey,
therapy
Amber.
time. Hello, Donna. Oh, Amber's with us.
Amber came to see us today. How are you? Sally's here, and Lorraine and Cynthia.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marlyn, and across there is Amy, across the pond.
No, I'm on the same continent. We shouldn't tell them that. They'll think I went to England.
Well, you know, across a lot of land then.
Yes, big landmass.
Oh, the border. How's that? Across the border.
Yes, across the border. That's right. We are neighbors, right? And I see that across the pond is here. Susan's here.
Oh, hello.
Oh, it worked. Okay, good. So
well, welcome everybody.
Yeah, welcome.
Today is we're going to be doing some airbrushing, and Amy, you're doing stamping, I think.
I'm not going to do stamping. We're going to do I'm going to do a smidge of airbrushing with a bee theme today.
A what?
A bee, buzzing bees.
Oh, bee theme.
Yes, a bee theme.
I heard beef. I'm like, what?
Beef? Yeah. Are you hungry? Did you eat lunch?
Hello, Lynn. Hello, everybody.
Hi, guys.
So welcome.
Hey, we should tell them too, right? Thank you so much for all the support in our coffee shops. You guys are doing great. It's helping us keep everything covered for the live streams.
Yes, absolutely. I'm looking for it. Amy, maybe if you could update one of the thumbnails for us, because I'm looking and there's none with just us. Do you know what I'm talking about? To go and edit the tabs?
The tab? What do you mean?
Like these. See, this one here, it has...
Oh, there's one. I'll get it. I'll grab it.
Edit for yourself to add your link. Let me just do the camera dance. So as usual, if you're interested in purchasing the tutorials or the templates for today's project, you can find all that in our coffee shop. The link is there on the screen, and that helps us kind of, pay for our expenses and all that, the streaming software and all these types of things, to be able to offer you these free kind of lessons. And so I've got the wrong camera on. Here, let me do the switch. So today we're working on this. So the class that's in the coffee shop is how to create the stencils and shields for yourself to make character cookies. I see them everywhere. People are painting the character cookies. It's very time consuming to do. And your margin, when you calculate your time, which that is in short supply, if you can work faster, well, then you'll be able to make more money, right? Because there's a limit to what you can actually charge. So this way, with the stencils, you can work a little bit faster. So the class in the coffee shop demonstrates the Elsa cookie. Today, we're working with the Tinkerbell. It's exactly the same process, just different shields. So the first thing I want to talk about for you guys to understand stencils and shields. So this would be a stencil. When I'm airbrushing, the color is going inside the hole, and this is a shield. So this would be protecting the area, and I'm airbrushing around the perimeter. So that's generally kind of the two techniques that I'm using. I'm using one to protect the outer area so that when I shoot my color, it only goes within that round. And then maybe sometimes I do want a shadow coming out from a protected area. So that's the gist of it.
So Jeremy and June are both saying hello. Laura's here from South Africa. We've got someone here today from Hawaii.
So today I'm using different product, actually. You guys have seen me use often the drip color markers. Well, today I'm using their airbrush colors. I received a bunch of their colors, and I'm using that. I'm only going to be using one Americolor. Because the color I didn't find from their collection a good one for her skin tone. And so I'm going to be using their Dusty Rose from Americolor, but these are their drip color kind of line for airbrush. So this is what I'm going to be using.
So
And
did
then
you,
I'm just
did
going
you
to,
hold the pin up already?
what did you say?
Did you show them the pin so they know it's from that product line? Because most of the US people will know the pin.
There's the pen. So I have, I didn't put the airbrush colors in my supply list, which is also in the coffee shop. It's free if you want to go check out the supply list with the airbrush unit and that, because I haven't found a vendor that's carrying them in North America yet. I'm going to see about finding a vendor for you guys, but I didn't find anything. So I just want to show you guys. So airbrushing, here's my collection of airbrush guns.
Look at that. That's exciting to me.
When you're painting with airbrush, if you have to run to the sink and clean your airbrush gun in between each colors, it's doable. It's doable, but it's, you know, it's less kind of convenient. It's a question of convenience. I do it a lot. If you're making a lot of orders, I mean, I've seen airbrush guns go for $200. So these $50 units technically aren't that much, you know, more investment, and they really make your life so much easier. Like, it's like when you're coloring a picture and you can reach for the crayon you want, right?
That's right.
Instead of always having to kind of fabricate your color there, it's ready to go.
Well, they're very jealous and green with envy.
So I draw using my iPad, my templates, and it's a great way to see the cookies before they're made. That's my preferred way to make my my stencils. So here's the class. You can find it. It's there. It's 50% off today. It was $10. So today it's $5. And then I have the supply list. And like I said, we're working on Tinkerbell. So I'm going to move her onto our little work surface here.
Okay.
So just a quick video that I loaded before. I'm adding a base layer of white icing. This is a large cookie. Usually, you know, depending on your icing, it can be problematic to get it to heal. So you see, I've got like the narrowest edge, and I'll be able to heal there, that seam. So I'm kind of sectioning it off, if you kind of saw. This is a big cookie. If you're going to be picking this up, it could crack. Be mindful of that. Amy had shown a tip, if you guys watched her on Sunday, to put a cake board under there, because they will, you know what I mean? The cookie does absorb the moisture from the icing, and then if you pick it up and it's really big like that, well, you could get a hairline fracture, or it could like split right down the
it weakens them just a little bit, just enough that it'll wreck the whole project, right?
Exactly. And that's like really going to make your day. So here I work in either cardstock or clear plastic when I make my stencils. And so if I'm working in cardstock, I make my template the size of the cookie. Since I can't see through the material, I can align it based on the size of the cookie. I'm trying to find the center here. I use magnets. Airbrush blows air, and so the templates can shift because of that.
Mar, what weight cardstock is that you normally use? Is that 90 or 110?
That's probably, I think, even 120, but 110 is fine.
Okay.
That's usually what I use. So the plastic, if you know you're not going to remake a cookie and you can get away with the cardstock, then do it with the cardstock and you can just throw it away, you know? It's like, it's very like disposable. Sometimes you're doing custom stuff for your clients. You can get rid of it, right? And not, you know, plastic is not good for the environment. So if you can use the cardstock. So
Shirley has a question about making such a large cookie. She'd like to know if you typically make that thicker when you're making a larger cookie.
No, because it's a big cookie, it actually takes longer to bake. And so if on top of it, it was thicker, it would be even more like cake-ish to bake. It's a bit tricky to bake a big cookie like that. So no, I don't make them thicker. You want to not even touch it when it comes out of the oven. You leave it until it becomes room temperature. They're very fragile, as you know, when they come out of the oven. So try not to pick it up. There was a question on Sunday when we were on with you, Amy, for your live about cleaning the airbrush. I think it was that, or maybe it was on Friday with the girls. In case you didn't know, I'm on Friday as well with Sweet Ams and Hanielis.
Yes.
Anyway, with regards to not being able to completely clean your airbrush, one of the things I do, and I just got reminded of it just now, is I actually leave water in the gun. After I've cleaned it, I don't spray all the water out. I leave it there. So it kind of soaks, if you will. And then the next time I use it, which is often, I'll again run water through it. And usually that water that's soaked there will kind of release those last little bits of pigment.
Gotcha. That's a great tip.
So now I'm using a color called Cocoa. It's pretty close to black, I'd say. And this is what it looks like, the pour on this one. So I'm just dropping a few drops of color into the gun. Now, if you, my brain just shut down. Oh my God, I hate it when that happens to me. Literal, like completely gone. The whole thought in my head is gone. Okay, moving right along. It'll come back once I stop thinking about it. So now I'm hitting really in the lines with my color, and you can see it's quite dark. This is the same color I used earlier. And because the slits in the cardstock are so slight, right? Because I want it to look like a hand-drawn line, I cut those slits very small. Well, you practically have to hit like right in there, and you want to not go too heavy because then it gets very wet. You want to apply color, but you don't want to soak the thing because then it kind of gets wet, and when you move anything, it'll smudge. You want to apply color that almost instantly dries, and that happens when you do very light passes of color.
And Mar, we have another question, and I'm going to take it really quick so you can keep airbrushing. She's asking, since you're not baking thicker, can you cut heavy cardstock and put under the decorated cookie, then package for shipping? I would really recommend that you guys get those like wilting cake boards, not cake drums, which are 1/4 inch thick, but those little 1/8 inch cake boards, and use royal icing to attach the cookie to the board. And that'll help support the cookie. And that way it's all food safe, what's touching the cookie.
That's it, exactly. So here you can see it's a very slight line, very slight. When you're cutting stencils, there is a limit to how small the line can be, right? Because for it to be able to like actually cut the blade has a limited kind of, right? There's a limit to how small. So you want to go as small as you can. You might have to like do some tests, but you see Tinkerbell is big because she's on the mushroom. She's a decent sized, favor sized cookie, but you can't go much smaller because you'll lose the detail. You could maybe do it in marker. You could airbrush like the kind of the background colors and then come in with a marker, but there's a limit to how small you can.
Do you mean how thin that line is, the cut line?
Yeah.
Okay. And then do you see this question? Do you have a recommended brand of airbrush color for a true black and a true white?
Well, white is very difficult. I airbrush with Wilton's product that they sell to whiten your buttercream. That's what I airbrush with.
You showed us that once before, and I tried it, and I like that better than my white airbrush color.
Yeah, I've not had great success with regards to that. And the black, well, the Americolor is quite black, I have to say, for their airbrushing. It's quite good. So here on my little thing here, that is Post-it paper, and those are what now back shield. So this is a shield that will protect the white of her eyes. So I've got my needle tool here, and I'm performing a little surgery. I'm picking them off. And
now we're having cookie surgery during cookie therapy. What are we doing today?
Yes. And so I'm placing the little shield, and so it's a little bit sticky because it's a Post-it. And ideally, I wouldn't be so far away, but because, so here you see, and that will stick because it's a Post-it. And now this guy, and so this is probably the most fiddly part of it, is this, because I cannot shield the eyes. Oh, I think I put it on backwards. Did I? No, I think it's good.
I think it looks right.
And
Karen, don't worry. You can use Chef Master. Just go light layers and layer up.
Yes. So you see now her eyes are protected, and it's because it's in the middle of the face. So there's no way for me to kind of attach that to any kind of a, you know what I mean? So that's why I need to do this technique for that.
And Laura, I think that Mara is saying cardstock on things that you're going to dispose of, so you're not throwing so much plastic away. So if it's a custom job and you don't need to keep the stencil, maybe go with cardstock for those projects. But stencil is very handy if you're going to be doing a huge number of cookies, or if it's a stencil you want to keep. Did that cover it, Mar?
Exactly right.
Okay.
All right, so when you're airbrushing and you don't have many airbrush guns, you want to think about the colors you're doing. So let's say her hair is yellow. So then you could go from yellow to green, right?
Right.
Then you don't have to wash it. You just spray it out into your trash can, and then you can go with your green. So you want to think about that a little bit so that, you know, you limit the amount of times you have to run to the sink. So here and it's very easy now. I wouldn't need this to be in clear plastic. I made it because of the video today. You could easily do this in cardstock because you can kind of see that brown edge, so it's easy to align. So this is the hair portion. I'm weighting it down. And another thing you might want to do, because here the body's right there, you want to shield that with a paper towel or something, because the particles from airbrush are airborne and they literally go everywhere.
Yes.
You want to be sure to not be getting stuff where you
I'm just curious, are you going to blow any glitter at this today?
I didn't anticipate it. I didn't anticipate it.
Wait, we'll see if we can catch that in the camera too.
So their yellow is very nice, but not really like natural looking, I want to say, you know.
Right,
it looks like it would be a nice flower middle, but not ideal for her hair color. But I'm using it just because I'm using their products today. It's just for the sake of like showing you guys. So all their bottles, it's all in I don't think rojo. It might be Spanish.
Okay.
Rojo is red.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure. And so this is kind of like a more of a brownish color now I'm coming in with. You see?
Oh, beautiful.
I'm just adding a bit of shading around, and you can get like, and it just mutes that brightness from that yellow. So I'm just
That's beautiful.
Kind of making her look a little bit more natural.
So Mar, if you were doing a whole bunch of these cookies, and let's just quantify that and say, let's say you're doing 6 or 12, would you just move from one cookie to the other through each of these things that you're doing?
The colors, yes. And especially if you don't have a lot of airbrush guns, right? That would be the solution. And now this technique applies for corporate logos. Let's say you get an order for corporate logos or things like that, right?
Right.
So if you have the many airbrush guns, you might want to have a system where you mark them somehow so that you know what's in them, because the airbrush color, when it's in the gun, is kind of hard to identify, right?
Mar, I'm surprised you don't have 7 guns there with the 7 colors of the rainbow, so you can have the red for the red and a yellow for a yellow.
So this is their green. It's a little bit, I just shot it a little bit darker in the center. Now I'm going to take a darker green.
So if we have a supplier watching that wants to ship Mar some free cordless airbrushes, we'll get that info to you, and she'll be happy to use that color system.
So now this is a slightly darker green, and I'm going to come in and and you're painting just the same with an airbrush as you would with a paintbrush.
I love these. You can hardly hear the gun.
Yeah, they're very quiet. And the other thing that people complain about is that airbrush mist, the colors get everywhere, and people say up your nose and all that. Right. It doesn't happen as much because the pressure is so much softer, right? Like it's just not as intense with these airbrush guns. So
hey guys, while she's airbrushing, go ahead and drop a comment in the comment field. Let us know again where you're watching from today.
Now this is a shield, so I'm protecting Tinkerbell from the color that I'm going to be hitting, and I want to add grass here at the bottom, so I'm shielding my mushroom area.
So pretty, Mark.
Weighting it. And I'm using the same dark green that I had just used, and I'm hitting right at the bottom here. just lightly pigmenting around.
And someone is asking if the airbrush color has a taste. It doesn't really, does it?
No, the only negative that I would say is that it's color. So when you stir in your color to your icing, it doesn't, like, it's really like in there, and it doesn't really get on your mouth unless you're using red or black. But
Yeah.
this, when you eat it, it does get on your lips. It can get on your lips, which is annoying. I'm not going to lie.
Right. So guys, if you're making wedding cookies, that's something you should always steer people away from, is a lot of black.
Oh my
They
God.
will be very upset if their wedding pictures get ruined.
If they're really stuck on black, you know, like, tell them, have a black ribbon, have other details. You don't want to have a ton of black icing on your wedding. Oh my God, people smiling in their photo with,
oh.
You know. So now this is the mushrooms, and I broke up the mushroom because if you look here at the stem, there's two parts, and the mushroom, so this technically would all be the same color, but if I had them all together, I wouldn't be able to create like shading on the edges and stuff. So even though something is the same color, even more of a reason to break up the thing by having them kind of a little bit distanced, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Looks perfect.
And so I'm just doing, this is the second color I put on her hair. So I'm just lightly misting this color on the stems.
Marlyn, in your supply list today, did you link some of those airbrush guns? Someone's asking if they're available in the UK.
UK, I don't know. The thing is, I've listed Amazon. And so you can go look on the supply list, and then with that information, see if you can maybe find it. You know what I mean? Because it's a completely other vendor.
It's another segment on Amazon, right? For the things that are.
So let me move my airbrush gun. I have to remember what is in what.
You know what? We have the best audience on Tuesdays. They're all in here helping each other with answers to questions. And
that's so nice. So now I'm using the brown that I did the whole design in. I'm shading the stem, okay? So I'm creating a bit of a shadow coming from the top portion of the mushroom here. And I'm just shading the edge.
Beautiful. The stencil's available today for purchase in your coffee shop, correct?
No, not this. This is a licensed character. So I don't really want to be selling licensed characters. Okay. I'm demonstrating. The class that I'm selling is showing you how you can make your whatever you need to make. See, I pulled my trigger too much right there.
Oh, yeah.
So that you can do it yourself. And there's an Elsa for you to practice with, but I'm not selling like Tinkerbell things. Since
it's licensed, no, it's just a demo to show you how to create these if you have
exactly.
Because sorry, go ahead.
Because if you do sell licensed character cookies, I mean, and you're dealing with your customers, I mean, everybody does it on the QT, but you're not posting it to your business page, right?
Right. They have a question. It says, I've heard when looking at an airbrush, you should look at the PSI so you can use it with gold shimmer or silver shimmer.
So I'm going to show you what I do with mine here. I'm just going to do my shading and then I'll answer that in a second, okay? So now I'm just hitting on one side with that brown with my shield. I'm just creating a bit of a shadow coming from, like, you know what I mean?
Yes, lightly, it looks great.
Lightly shading this up. That's it. Okay, so I always work with my guns with the needle exposed. You see the needle right here?
Yes.
And so there's a point here, and that's what kind of seals the hole. And when you pull the trigger, the needle goes back, releases the color. Well, I always have my needle exposed, and when I work with kind of dust and stuff, I'll pull the needle back so that the hole is bigger and I don't get clogging issues. Gotcha. So that's why I never put the top on. I always unscrew it. And then if sometimes I do have a clog, I'll pull it back, it releases, and I'll continue working. Okay. So the PSI, yes, that information is not incorrect, but I'm saying there are workarounds.
Gotcha. And then someone else said they missed the beach cookie template in the pizza box. Is that still in the coffee shop?
It is. It is.
Okay, perfect.
The beach in a box. Okay, so now I've got this. I'm going to paint everything in blue for the sky to give her like a little bit of a background, right? It's a little bit washed out.
Nice. So pretty.
So this
Hi, Jen.
color is called eucalyptus.
I love eucalyptus. It is such a beautiful color for leaves and foliage for wedding cookies.
Well, you'll see it's not so, it's more, I find, kind of on the blue side. And you'll see in a second. So I'm just doing like an overall kind of the sky here.
Jeremy's wife loved the beach in the box cookie that you did.
Oh, thank you. See, so it's just, I find it's like a nice kind of muted sky. So there she is. All right, so now we've got, I mean, she's essentially, you know, how fast I did all this. Now the last bit, where is my mushroom?
It's in that 3-foot area that we lose everything in. It's like our Bermuda Triangle.
All right, so here it is. Oh, that was the other one I wanted to do. What's my time at?
Oh, you're fine, because I can keep mine shorter today. This is a beautiful project. I'm sure they want to see this all the way through.
All right, so I'm just doing here, this is the underside of the mushroom, so I'm just going to do this.
Oh, nice.
There. So that was the mushroom there, and now I'm going to do the red. So again, you see I've got my shield for the top of the mushroom. And I'll grab this kind of burgundy-ish color.
And then do you just put a paper towel across her face?
I would, yes. I'm going to see if I can get away with it today. So darker around the perimeter. My airbrush is spitting. I can see it. If I wasn't live right now, I'd go clean it out, but I'm going to make do.
It actually looks very organic, Mar.
Oh, cool.
We have a question. She's, let's see, it's Shirley, and she's saying it's beautiful. And is the sky color hitting the actual cookie sides?
No, you can, but I didn't. So there. And you see how I'm not completely covering? This is on purpose here, this little white area. You know, it's like when something
highlight
is rounded, there's a bit of light that hits it.
You see Jeremy?
I wasn't. So same thing. And if you do add light to an element, try to, you know, keep it to the other elements as well. So you see, I'm going to leave that little kind of white area on this little guy too. You see?
Begonia Girl is asking if you feel the airbrushing color dries very quickly. She sees you're moving the stencil around immediately.
This color, seriously, it's very good. It's drying super fast. And now the last bit is the skin. So I've got my whole area. Now, if you want, you can break up, like I said on the stems, you can break up the part, like let's say have her arm be separate or the arm that's in the back be separate, so that you can come in and create like a bit of shading around the edging, right? So that's how it kind of gets like looking more rounded. And the other thing that you can do, which I have done on other projects, is you can come in at this point. Oh, see my eye unstuck? My little post-it. So
can you do a question while you're fixing that? When you airbrush, should you seal it after it dries?
I don't, but you can. Don't freeze an airbrushed cookie because the condensation will wreck your finish. Okay, so let's do that again.
Jeremy's the only one allowed to use the butterfly shape until September. I think Hanny will have a problem with that, Jeremy.
All right, so there. And now I'm out of airbrushes.
Oh no.
Here.
See, supplier, please send these to Marlyn. He needs a few more.
Let me get this one cleaned out.
You feel like you're holding the airbrush pretty close to the cookie or further away? What would you give as an average?
So the closer you are, the smaller the line. The more you pull away, the wider the spray. So if you're very, very close, you're getting a fine line. That's what you want to think about. So far is like more like an overall coverage, and then close is detail. So now I'm just cleaning out. I have the airbrush that had the green in it, and I'm just spraying out into the trash can, putting water and rinsing, and now I'm pretty good. And now I'm going to be putting, it's a color called Dusty Rose. I highly recommend that you experiment on paper before you go to your cookies. If you find that your color is still too dark, you can dilute them with alcohol before you put them in your airbrush. So then you're cutting the intensity of the color, and then you can just build. You can still get it dark, but you're building with less. So now I'm quite far. This color is quite dark.
Okay.
Okay, and I don't want her skin. It's like she's very, very light. You see, it's very pinkish.
Oh, yeah, it's very pretty.
And so it's going to be difficult for me to come in and do much detail on her, but I'm generally getting the color on. So there, okay. So there she is. I'm going to pick off her eyes, and you can see now the eyes are nice and white.
Yeah,
so
they like the Dusty Rose.
So the last detail here you see are the wings. So this is wafer paper. And so I had initially colored the wings the color of the background, that eucalyptus. But then when I put them on, they didn't stand out. So I do find that a white wing works best. And so you're just airbrushing to get your perimeter onto the wafer paper, and then you can cut it out and you can attach them with a little bit of royal icing. So
Mar, you definitely have not dyed your hair blue, correct?
Blue.
Blue. No. Okay, so Laura, it's your video screen. She looks normal to me today.
And here I'm just aligning. You see, this is what I created these shadows for.
Oh,
I'm
so
aligning.
pretty.
And then I attached the wing. And because it was airbrushed, it curled up a little bit. Ideally, I would have put it underneath something to get it flat. But it actually works in this particular case. Not so much if you're going to ship them, but, and again here.
And I'm not sure I understand this question. Let's see. Was the cookie iced before you did the airbrushing? She had a airbrush cookie, an ice cookie that was totally dry, correct? Because you're working on it with a pretty good amount of pressure there.
Two days ago, I did the cookie.
But if that's not the actual question, just retype it in the comments and we'll come back to it, okay?
Yes, it was airbrushed. So there it is. That's the completed cookie. I don't know what the time was on that, but don't forget I was explaining and all that. Because the point of this is that you're going to be able to work quickly.
Yeah, that was great. You did that in 32 minutes.
Well, less than that, because we talked, we did our intro, blah, blah, blah. It was less than that. And you'll be able to replicate your designs exactly, because that's the other thing, right? You want to replicate. Oh, and then you can add more. Like, this is a quick demo for you guys, but you could come in and put green icing, make some grass. You can add, you know, the little dots on the mushroom. I mean, you could add all kinds of cute little details to it.
I'm going to come up and drop the 2 links for our coffee shops in. That's where the supply lists are today. So see where it says Marlyn's template, www.coffee. Go to that shop on the coffee. Mar, your recording has stopped. Oh. We can still see you, but your recording has stopped. Go there and you'll find the supply list there.
So there's no template for this Tinkerbell. This was a demonstration. If you want to make Tinkerbell, you can Google coloring page of practically anything.
Right.
And you'll find it. And then with the tutorial, I explain how you use a coloring page to create these. Even if you don't have a silhouette, once you print off the coloring pages, you can use them. You just need them to be sized correctly. Like you print, sometimes you can print at 50% and you'll get them a little bit smaller and you can use them to decorate your cookies. I mean, it's no different than people using the template to with a projector. This way you're just able to do it like way more accurately and way more like quickly. And if you're used to painting and maybe you get potholes because it's too wet and stuff, your surface stays perfect when you're airbrushing. Look at that.
That's wonderful. I love the dots on the mushrooms too.
And then this gives it a little bit of a relief, you know. So
hi, Julie.
That's it.
Well, I got to catch you up here. They're all, Fabiola's here. Hey, it's nice to see you. And Olga made it. They're just a little bit late. I did see you earlier, Olga. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to click the comments, but you guys are going so fast. I think I have you caught up on all the questions.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. So I'm going to put the link up again real quick for the coffee shops, and then I'll jump into doing some bees. Does that sound good?
Yes.
All right. And while I'm
They're
doing
very
that, guys,
popular.
why don't you put,
Thank you.
They're beautiful, aren't they? And Mar, I got to say, I kind of like that lifted wing.
Well, it's giving it the only thing I would have maybe is left it white because it's so the same color as the sky. But that was the only thing. I like the white wing.
It's beautiful
But
either way.
Experiment on paper before you move on to your cookie, because I do have I did a third one, which was the prototype, and I had trouble. See, with this one, what happened is I did my shield and did the grass and the sky first, and then I wasn't able to align my brown outline. So you have to do the order, you know, depending on what your work. If I had the clear plastic for the brown outline, I would have been able to align it.
Well, they love your project. They love it. All right, so I'm going to do the camera dance real quick. By the way, I did try to log in from a separate thing.
And it didn't work?
No, it made this horrible noise. I did it before you got on there so I wouldn't hurt your ears. So I'm just going to pop over here. I don't even know if you'll see me, but we'll go with this. Is that good? I got a good work area?
Yeah, perfect.
So we're going to do bees today, guys. We're doing Beautiful because I thought that would be fun on a nice, fun, sunshiny Tuesday. So we're going to do a couple of things in your coffee shop today. Let's make sure you can see these. I have 3 templates, royal icing templates uploaded for you. This is my large bee template. I have a couple started so I can show you how to do the coloring, and then I'm going to show you how to pipe a few of these. We've got small bees because you need really both sizes depending on what kind of cookies you're working on. When you do a small bee like this, you can put more than one on the cookie. So that's kind of fun if you want to have multiple things in there. And then I made you this cute little beehive. So I'm going to show you that. And one of the things I'm going to show you on there, I'm going to lift it so you can see it right now. But can you see all the dimension that we got? I'm going to show you how to do some pressure piping with this to get those lines just from piping, not going back and disturbing it afterwards. But, you know, the beehives like that, they always have those itty bitty ridges. So it's going to matter what consistency your royal icing is. So we're going to jump in with that first. But just so you know where we're headed, I also just have a generic plaque shaped cookie iced, and it's dry because we're going to do a little bit of airbrushing on this. Just a little bit, just for some fun. And I do have a mini beehive cookie already done and hardened so that I can show you how to attach the bees and do some fun drawing directly on the cookie. Supply list and 3 templates is listed today in the coffee shop. So those are available. I did put a charge on my coffee shop thing today because of the 3 transfers, and also because it's the time of the month where I need to pay for some of the stuff for streaming. So I just needed to generate a little bit today to get everything covered for the month. Okay. This is my 6x6 format. So when you see the supply list, you're going to see some heavyweight cardstock in there. I do these in a 6x6. I also linked the 6.5 by 6.5 food safe cello bags because what I like to do when I have to do a lot of these is I have a piece of cake board in the back, a little piece of grease-proof cake board, and I pop it in, my template's in there, and then what I do is I leave the cake board piece in. Let me show you what that looks like. So I leave this in, but I pull my transfer out and just take it to the next bag. That way I don't have to print a whole bunch of these transfers, okay? So if you're wondering about that, I think we've gone over that in a couple of demos before. But let's pop right in. I want to show you something I tried today from one of Marlyn's videos. And Marlyn, I meant to ask you before we started which one of the videos they can go back and watch. But do you see on this cookie where I rounded it? So the whole, on one half of the cookie, it's rounded down. So I put the press and seal over it and then cut the cookie. I think we did it back at Easter time to get a more rounded 3D effect on our eggs. Was that the video?
I don't recall.
So you can actually see the difference in looking at this though. So right, this is a normal side and then this is the slightly rounded side. So if you want to get a little bit more dimension, it worked great on this. And I definitely will be doing it again. I really like how it looks, but just another little trick from one of Mar's previous videos for you. Okay. All right.
On
So
Instagram, I have there's a turtle. You can see it done with the turtle. I don't know if you remember
oh
that.
yeah, I think you did. Yeah, I remember seeing that one too. I remember the Easter one though, how you did the eggs, and I really liked that. And I have a couple of things linked for you in your supply list in case you want to do assorted bee sets. So this is the cutter that is linked by itself. It's an Ann Clark. It's a rather large cookie. So obviously you wouldn't want to do your whole set in this, but then if you do the other set that's linked there, you're going to get a variety of sizes. So you'll have different things. You got little flowers, little bees, but today we're just going to stick with the beehives just for the sake of time. So, you know, I like to sketch on cookies to help you guys figure out where you're going to ice before you get started. One of the things that I like on my little cookie that I finished for you, do you see how I have the black done? So we just did the black on the cookie. So just find the area that you want to have that little opening for your beehive. We're going to fill that in with some black icing and then take that icing off because we want it to be lower than the rest of the profile of our cookie. And then we're finding our natural break points where the cutter is set up, and we're doing a slight curve. That'll give us a little more dimension to our cookie, in addition to the fact that we shaped it by using that press and seal trick to get it a little more rounded. So you would just mark your cookie off like this so that you could then decide to do your alternating sections, right? So we would do all of these sections, let it dry, and then come back and do these sections. So I'm going to show you that really quickly on this smaller cookie, just for the sake of time, how that would look. And I'm using gold. I'm just using gold by Hobby Lobby today. I really like that color when you're doing anything bee related. It just seems to be the perfect shade. So guys, I'm just going in and I'm doing a quick, this is the same consistency icing. It's outline and flood together. So probably 20-second. And beehives are great because it doesn't have to look perfect.
Exactly.
This is definitely a good starter cookie, right?
Perfection. Is that a bib?
This can be a bib, but it actually is in that set of cutters that I posted with the beehive. But look how easily you can turn that and do a cookie flip.
Yeah, it looks like a bib to me.
To me too. That's what I saw, but it came in the pack of the other ones. And I was like, oh, well, good. I have something else to add to my baby set. I like it when I can use cutters for more than one thing. Now, this one, guys, I'm not doing that little black part. I'm going to show you how to do that in a second, although we're not going to fully ice that cookie for the sake of time today. And plus, I talked enough on Sunday that I don't think you need to hear my voice that much today.
Can they watch the replay to that on?
Oh, yeah, it's on there. And thank you guys for everybody that came to that, because that video is doing great. If you have any questions, you know, if you missed that on Sunday night, the Frosting Creators of San Antonio show, if you missed it, all the videos are in their group. You can still join that group for free to see it. And I'd love for you to watch the video. If you have questions, you guys know I'll come in and answer them at any time. So do you see how we did the alternating sections, right? All right, I'm going to slide this off to the side. Let's pull the baby. Let's do this one real quick, just because I want to make sure you understand about the black. We don't want the black to look like it's the same level as the rest of the cookie. So a little tiny bit of black icing, and then take a boo-boo stick. You can take the tip of a spatula. You can take a scraper that you would use for stenciling, and you basically just kind of want to mush that around that area. Okay, you just want to knock that color off, and you want it to be low profile. So we want that to be as flat as possible when we go back. And then
why don't we ask them if their favorite pun that could be attached to the bee set?
The bees, yes. That would be very fun. So like, you know, like be amazing, be awesome, all those, drop something in there. So guys, what I would do is come back and I would flood these sections. I really worry about color bleed when I'm doing a dark color next to light. And what I have found is that by putting white in my base royal icing, it stops a lot of that problem because it acts like a color block. The other thing that I find that's very helpful is to do my colors. If I have a light and a dark next to each other, if it's possible, I like to do them at the same time so that when they dry, one is one is not going back and taking moisture from the other. That also cuts down on color bleed. So for this particular cookie, if you came back to do it, I would be doing this section immediately while the black is still wet. If the black is dry and then I go back, say tomorrow, and put the yellow on, that black could pull some of the color from the yellow, and then it's more likely to get a little bit of that color bleed. Now, honestly, on a beehive cookie, you're not really going to notice it. It's okay if it looks a little fuzzy. Really, it's supposed to look like shadow anyway. So you get the idea, but it's just a couple helpful tips for you if you're having trouble with your dark colors like red and navy blue, burgundy and black. If those, you're having trouble with those next to light colors, that's just a couple quick tips for you. So you see, we would do those sections first. So we would do this section, this section, this section, this section, then let that dry. All right, let's slide that over. We're going to move on to our little, let's do these transfers first. I think we'll do that first, and that way we can move on so we can do all our airbrushing at one time. So I'm going to start with the B step.
Did you mention to not do their guidelines in black just in case?
Guidelines. Oh, you mean underneath? I didn't, because I don't have trouble with this marker. This is the ones I linked you off Amazon. It's just, it looks like this. This one, the color hasn't worn off. I don't have trouble with that, but let me tell you this. I'm only using black on camera so that it shows up well. If I were doing this cookie, like I needed to mark a bunch of them and then either myself or set somebody else down to start flooding and outlining, it would be in yellow. I typically do that with yellow, and I don't have any trouble with that. But definitely, if that is a problem for you, or you're using a marker that you find causes color bleed once you add color on top, stay away from the black for that part of the project. Now, keeping in mind what we just talked about for the cookie, about how we want to do alternating sections, this is a really thick consistency icing. This is probably 30-35 seconds. I would not do these on, obviously your royal icing transfers need to be done a day ahead, but I would knock all of those out so your hand has a little bit of time to recover. I made this a little bit thicker than normal because I wanted to get those cool little ridges. So here's a finished one. Let me lift it up for you to see. So can you see the detail?
Go down a bit. I think you're too close.
Too close? How's that? Is that showing?
Camera's focusing on your bees.
All right. Well, let's do it on the sheet, and we'll lift the sheet. It might also be that I put some new lighting in here over the weekend, so it's super bright. Everything's very shiny.
So now they're talking donuts in the comments, Amy. They know your favorite donuts. They're talking donuts.
Do you have a favorite donut, Mar?
I have to say, I always get the bear paw.
Oh, that sounds good. Okay, so we're going to go alternating sections. Watch the hand motion so that even if you can't see it on camera, you'll know what I'm talking about when you go to do this. But I am doing it's a very small cut in the tip of the hole, and the icing is super thick, and I'm giving it a little bounce. And what it's doing is making it look like I made 100 little lines, in the icing. Okay. So on this one, I'm showing you how to make this one we're going to go back and color the opening. And then I'll show you on the other one how to do it with the actual black in there. Although I like it better by hand coloring it on. So we've done that little section. Oops, my template moved. Hold on just a second. So we've done those three little sections. I think you can kind of tell on the finished ones, they're a little more matte in color so you can see it. But it's just do those three. You're going to let them dry. Then you should be able to come back and immediately fill in the other three. This one has been drying for over 12 hours. I'm just going to use the brush tip of one of these edible ink black markers. This is also super fast. You can just do a little hole right on there. If you have to do hundreds of these, I would suggest just doing the coloring. It's faster. You're not going to have to wait for it to dry in between. If you want to not use the color marker for some reason, maybe you don't like those, then what you would do is same thing, very thick consistency black icing, and you'll just do these little black areas. I'd do them as a dot, you guys, and just let it go. I wouldn't worry about smearing that out. Just hit it quickly. Let that set up. I would let this, for this purposes of this, I'd let it dry because this is a super thick icing so that you're not transferring a lot of moisture back and forth. But let me just show you what you would do in the area where that little hole is for your bee skep. I'm trying to get this where you can see it on camera. Am I up high enough, Mar?
I mean, you look fine.
Okay, so here I would start on this side and I let the icing attach. I'm doing that pressure piping. When I get close to where the hole is, I want to relax on some of the push to get that wide of a line out and come across that area and then go back to that same pressure to come around it. Because when I do royal icing transfers, I don't pick up a scribe to fix these things. You know, one of the reasons to do them is to get them done ahead of time and move through them fairly quickly. And I'm also making sure as I'm doing around that little area that my icing's going up over that black area, because we do want our whole transfer to be secure. We want to build a nice transfer so that it will pop off easily. So there's a couple of those. This is a finished one. We're going to use this on a cookie in just a minute. Then let's pop over real quick and I'll show you how to do the large bee. It's the same exact bee on the large and the small templates, but I want to show you how to build those. People get very frustrated doing bee royal icing transfers, and most of the time it's because they're not building it to where you have a really secure transfer. Super thick white icing to do my wings. You can work in diamond dust when you're doing the white if you want to. It's not necessary, but this is a good spot to work it in. Okay, we've cut that bag with probably equivalent to a number 3 tip opening, and we're just squeezing, starting our circle, and then we're doing that bounce. We want it to have a little texture to it. Then we're crossing in to the bee body area, okay? Little bit less pressure here because this is supposed to be a little smaller. But this one, when you come in on this wing, you want the wing to attach. You want it to attach to the large wing right here, and then you want it to cross up into this area. If I were doing these, because I was going to use them on cookies, I'd do that whole set of wings on my whole thing before I turned my template. But for the purposes of this, we're going to turn and stay on the same bee. We're going to do the large one. A lot of pressure. We're building that up really puffy so it'll look great on the cookie. Going into the second wing, making sure it fully attaches, and then crossing to the center. So let me lift this so you can see it. You can see that the wings are fully crossed. All 4 of those pieces are touching each other, and because they were all done at the same time, it's really like having one layer, right? It's not 4 separate drying times. So let's move that little one out of the way. Let's pull in our toothpaste consistency.
So Priscilla wants to know, do you put them in the dehydrator?
I don't. When I'm using an icing this thick, I don't find that it's necessary. But if I found that my icing was just a little too wet, I would be concerned about these getting craters. And then, yes, I would definitely pop them in the dehydrator, usually at 105. Now, looking at my bee, guys, I want to have a separate head and separate body, or at least the look of having that, even though these things are joined. So what I typically do is I like to do the body first, because the body will come over those wings and connect all of the wings. Then I can go back. If my icing is thick enough, I can immediately go back and add the head and still have separate definition. But then all of these pieces are going down at the same time, so they're going to dry at the same rate. So let me show you how I would do that. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to work from left to right. You do what's easier for you. I start out right on top of the wings, and I'm making just a circular motion with some heavy pressure piping, giving the bee body a little bit of dimension. Then as I get to the bottom, I'm using the fact that when you're pulling out on a thick icing like this, I'm using that to my advantage to leave that little tail. Just cleaning the tip of the bag off. Again, I'm right-handed, so I'm rotating. And then I work up and down. So this will be a little harder to show you, but I start right in the center of that circle, and I'm just doing a bouncing motion to create a circle. So I'm not outlining and then flooding. Okay. I'm using the bouncing motion and the pressure to let gravity do its thing and make my little beehive, my little bee head. So let me lift this so you can see it. You see what I mean? So now all of our pieces are joined together. Now I'm going to go back to this one that's dry. I don't like to pipe the black and the yellow and the white. We talked about the color bleeding. That's just how I do it. Lots of ways for you to do it. But let me show you something so easy. With this marker, the edible ink on the black marker, I just come back in. You can kind of see where to do it. I left you guides here. Just come back in and do a little curved motion. And it reads perfectly like a bee. Hit the tip with just a little bit of color, right? Now you've got a cute bee body. I did not put antennas on here because I did not want you to mistakenly think you should pipe the antennas. We're going to draw the antennas on the cookie with the edible ink marker. So I'm just going to give him two cute little like eyes up here, a little nose and a tiny smile. He doesn't even need the smile if you don't want him to have it. If you want to make him look angry, you can make him look angry. We're going to leave all the facial expressions up to you guys, okay? So you can see once these are totally dry and you come back in and do that, it pops off and you have this super cute, very sturdy transfer. So you can see it's flat. All the pieces are lined up. It's important that it's flat so that you can put it on a finished dried cookie. So let's pop that out of the way. So you've seen the royal icing transferred templates now. I want to skip really quickly. I want to use a little bit of gold diamond dust today because what would it be without some diamond dust? So we're going to use the gold. And I've got my smaller of my airbrush stencil holders. You know, I normally use the one that you can adjust in size, but today what we're going to do, I'm going to pull my turntable into place and cover this with a paper towel. This is just what's easiest for me. All right. So this is roughly, I'm on camera. Let's get in camera here. All right. Let's pop our cookie on. Let's drop this in. I'm using a warm brown or woodland. Actually, I'm using woodland brown today. I just want to do a nice little highlight. And I'm really hoping this works because of the thing that I did Sunday that I've never done before. Hopefully I won't do it again as I forgot. And I left my color, even though I had added water to it, I left my color in my airbrush gun. Oh, and you see, I thought I might have a problem today. I have a clog and I just have the one brush here. So we're going to switch gears. Let me do this a little bit differently. So these came in handy today, Mar. We're going to do this as we're doing a little stamping, which is fine because I knew I was going to have a splotchy airbrush spray today. And we're going to see if this works really quick, okay? I just don't want to stain my hands.
Can I just answer something? So Shirley, yes, you can buy multiple guns and have only one compressor, and there's actually an attachment that you can put to the gun, a quick release. And so you can get a bunch of guns with the quick release and then switch them out, and they actually sell holders so you can line up all your guns and just switch them out. That ideally, though, I think works better with the plug version instead of the wireless compressor.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take that apart and clean it again. I hate cleaning my airbrush gun, but it is what it is.
Try just putting really, really hot water in it for a minute before you resort to the taking apart thing.
Just fill it up? Is that what you're saying?
Hot water, let it soak a little bit, and then, you know.
So I basically have just created a little sponge. I'm not sure this is going to work, but we're on camera, so we're trying to roll with it. This is not typically how you would do this, but I want to see if I can get just a little section of the honeycomb. So it's kind of working. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell exactly what it is, but it's going to give me the shadowing I need. So that's good. I just wanted this to look on this end like I had the honeycomb bits. Let's see. So note to self, bring pink airbrush gun to the house. So this is actually working okay for what I wanted it to do, but this is not what I would recommend doing. I would absolutely be doing this with an airbrush and get my exact little hexagons. Okay, but this is going to give me enough of the blotchy look that I want.
If you don't have an airbrush, she doesn't have any ready, you could always do a swipe with icing too, I guess. Eh?
Yes, I don't have any brown ready. I don't really want to do it in the black. So I'm going to do this. We'll see what that, we could at least get the spots. So that's fine for today. The other thing I was going to show you that I thought was really cute is I like the look of dripping honey. So I'm using my thick icing and I'm just coming back with the same exact gold and I'm going to make little drippies. I'm going to do outline in a really thick consistency. So it looks like it's a piece of oozing honeycomb. I'm going to fill this in with the flood. I do have two consistencies going in the gold. So we're going to do our outline in this consistency, and it's the same color. And that's the other thing I wanted to mention to you guys. When you mix up your color, it does look really nice if all your yellows are the same. And especially if you custom blend colors, you want to try to have enough of your base icing to make it thicker or thinner so that everything coordinates. You don't want to have mixed shades of yellow. It's one of the colors that I think looks particularly bad if it's not the same color. If you run out and have to go back and remix. Now, in this case, not going to matter so much because you can come back and you can paint this with some of the Sugar Art Gold that I listed in your sheet, and it makes it beautiful. It's just a nice fun piece. There's edible luster dust that I listed for you. All right, but what I'm going to do is what we were going to do if we airbrush. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a shield down here on my blotchy parts. And we're going to hit this with some, am I still in frame? We're going to hit this part with just a little bit of diamond dust instead of doing the hand painting today. So we get this kind of fun, like sticky, drippy looking. There we go. And I'm just going to use a paintbrush. If you get a little too much diamond dust on here and you don't like it, the bottom part of the cookie's dry. You can just come in and actually undust the cookie with your little paintbrush. And this is a Food Safe Wilton. It's also listed in your supply list. You know, I know half a dozen people are like, oh, I'd just blow that off. But you know what? If you get in the habit of on your own cookies, blowing on a cookie to release that from the cookie, then you're going to do it on somebody's cookies that they purchase, you know. So just try to keep all your habits the same. So when you get stressed or rushed, you do everything the same, right? So you can see we get a fun little drip cookie, right? Now let's quickly pop over because I think we're at 3 minutes after. I want to show you these baby bees attached. Now, remember when we attached real icing transfers, we tried to attach it with the same color so that if it comes out from the bottom, it doesn't make a big noticeable spot. So I'm just going to flip my baby bees over. I'm using that, just a little dab of the yellow is all we need. And I'm going to drop a bee on here. And I'm going to take one of the other ones. And these transfers have been set up for over 12 hours, so it's real easy to handle them. But if you're not comfortable with handling them, or you feel like you break them, it could be that you've made them too fragile, or it could be that you're handling them too soon. So if you're not comfortable with that, try to go your next batch with a little bit thicker royal icing, and then let them dry a little bit longer, because they shouldn't be so fragile that you can't handle them. So now we've got these 3 cute bees that we just made, right? We're going to come back with our fine point end on our edible ink marker. And we're just going to make some cute little like stitching lines. I prefer to do this with the ink because it creates a more fine detail than piping it with a 1-point tip. Also, if you go back and try to pipe these lines with the 1-point tip, you'll find that sometimes when you go to bag those cookies, if it wasn't just attached just right, those little bits will come off, and then that winds up in the bottom of your bag, and it's just not really attractive. So just think about how a bee would fly.
So right? Are those 1/2 inch or quarter?
These little bees, these are 1/2 inch, and then your big bee is a 1 inch. Okay. And then let me show you something really cute we did for Valentine's Day. We went in and we used that little heart stitch, and the little stitch that looks like a sewing stitch, and we made it look like a heart on our bee cookies for Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. So if you have a wedding or something to do, just do your heart first, then make your line come up to your heart. Imagine going around your heart, then come back out your heart and make your little flight line go to your bee. So these are real cute for a wedding, right?
Adorable.
So
everybody's loving them, Amy.
This is the only ones that I did for today, but I know that next week I have some others. I have some really cool actual bee-shaped cookies that I wanted to do because I want to show you some stuff with wafer paper for the wings and white diamond dust, okay?
So you're going to do these next week too?
I'm going to do actual bees instead of just the beehives, if that's okay.
Oh, of course.
Unless they wanted something else. Does anybody want anything else in particular? That was my plan for next week. So you'd have a full set because bees are real popular in June. Bee cookies are real popular in June. So you have lots of different styles that you can do. This cookie is my favorite one to do for like, if you want to put two people's names and do a little love sign. This is a nice size cookie that if you plan the area that you're going to personalize so that you don't have all the ridges to deal with in a normal beehive, this is a great one for that. Like Be Mine at Valentine's Day. This is a great cookie for that. Did I miss any questions? Are we good?
No, everything is
Okay.
good. Fabulous says, love them. Mary Jean, stay on plan, she's saying. She wants to see your bees.
Oh, you want to see the bees? Okay, well, I have a boy bee and a girl bee, and I have two favorite cutters, so I'll make sure I list those for you because they're actually not Ann Clark cutters. I try to give you those so it's easy for you guys to get a hold of. Oh, and the pin. You guys were asking about the pin. It is linked in your supply list. It's just from Amazon. They come in a 3-pack for about $6 or $7, and it's a black edible ink marker. Honestly, this looks just like the ones I get from Chef Master to me, but
yeah. Well, they might be made by the same company. Karen suggested cicadas. I actually looked up a cicada.
It's bad in Virginia, especially up towards the big city.
Oh,
They've
yeah.
been posting pictures. They're coming out.
They're not an easy thing to cookie. I mean, I was looking at them. They're like pretty complex.
And Mara, I meant to tell them, you know, after we had the AliExpress and dollar store thing, I had gotten on there and ordered some things. So I think next week I'll be using these stamps. I'll be using a couple of these stamps. If you want to do bees next week, we'll be using these. Okay.
So get ready.
Yeah. If you want to see some stamping, we'll start.
No, I'm saying get ready. Get your credit cards ready because she's going to be a complete, like, what is it, enabler.
I'll put the links in for you too. And I just saw someone say, how do you tell a boy bee from a girl bee? Well, the girl bee has a bow, of course.
Well, you could put the boy, a little bow here. A
little bow tie right here. Yeah. So fun.
Well, you know, Jeremy, I have to be politically correct.
Complex. But do have your credit cards ready because these were super, you know, I've been so shocked since I've returned back into the stores occasionally. I feel like I'm going back in now a little bit more often since the everybody's getting the vaccine and all that. These stamp sets have doubled in price at Michael's and Hobby Lobby. They're so much more expensive than our stores here. I don't know if you're finding that in Canada yet.
Well, I can't say that I compared, but I don't know what correlation bees have with the corona vaccine, but
no, I mean, I'm just going back into the stores more. And as I'm returning, a set like this would have cost me $7 in Michael's last year, and or maybe it was Joann's. But they're like $14 now for a set of these stamps. So you guys are really going to be thanking us for your AliExpress connection if things keep going in this direction.
Shayna's saying, be ready for next week.
Be ready. I love it. You guys are great. I'm going to swap my camera real quick.
No lumberjack jokes, right? No lumberjack jokes.
Wait, is Jeremy trying to tell a lumberjack joke?
Well, he's reference to, I guess, Canadians.
Jeremy, you know Mar doesn't like that. All right. So, Mar, what are you going to do next week?
Gosh, you know what? I'm just going to pop my camera on to show you guys, though. Forget about next week. Let's baby steps. So on Wednesday, tomorrow at 1, I'm going to go on Instagram Live. So that's I'm trying it with hand. And so I'm going to be doing these cookies here. What is it? Terrazzo?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they look like you could do a beautiful mosaic cookie too with that.
Yeah. So I'm going to be demoing this at 1 on Instagram tomorrow. If I live, I might do it again after that. We'll see. But Instagram is a completely different animal than Facebook. Facebook allows for just, you know, a little bit more control of like we can put the videos if we know, like, you know, something not worked out, or have some pictures and backup documents to help you guys. Instagram, it's like really flying by the seat of your pants.
I was going to tell you guys too, I just shifted gears to show you how to do a little bit of that stamping if something happens with your airbrush, which just stop and clean it. But we're on camera and I wanted you to see the overall look of the cookie. but I did want to tell you the reason that I was about to do the airbrushing is before I had put these bees on. Can you see that right there?
Yeah.
What I was going to do is use that very faint brown, stay very far away from the cookie. And I was going to give the cookie a little more dimension by highlighting around it and then in between the sections. That's what we were going to do. And then we were going to come to this one and do a nice honeycomb pattern on it. So I will clean the gun and do a little bit of work on these. And I may pop back on tonight sometime and show you some sunflower pops. So if you're around tonight, it's Tuesday night, I might pop on a little bit later this evening and just show you how to make these cool little sunflower pop cookies. Can you see that?
From your demo on Sunday.
I wanted to just do a little more practice and check a few more things out with the program. So I may do that later tonight. I have everything set up for that. So I thought I might just do it live instead of recording it. So if you're around, join me later. I'll send you a text alert. Oh, did we ever put that up for them so they know where to join the text alert?
Oh, no, we didn't.
We should probably put that up.
There. Oh, wrong thing. There it is.
I saw, yeah, just go to that number and type live stream or sign me up, just something. It'll put you right into the list. And then we try to send the text alert 5 minutes before we start, but my alarm did not go off, so I didn't do it in time today. You got a 2-minute warning today instead of 5, but it's helpful, right? So, because if you're not on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube right when we're going live, then you don't actually see it. So if you haven't set an alarm on your phone, which is great, a lot of you I know have that texting alert will help you.
So there's her templates in the coffee shop today, all the bee goodies. And then
how'd they do in the puns, Mar?
The puns, they're further down in the comments. You'll have to go back and read them. I don't even remember them. I never, that thought, whoops, wrong slide. The thought that left my brain never came back. I mean, serious, I'm full blown, like now my menopause is like, I'm sitting there on the couch having hot flashes. I can't remember my own name. It's like, I'm just a hot mess. So anyway.
I gotcha. That's so fun. Huh?
It's fun, yeah, it's so fun. So fun, yay!
Just say not and then make a cookie. Make the cookie that you're going to throw. It'll help relieve a little stress.
I don't know. Is there a menopause cookie?
Oh, boy.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Today, I'll figure out what I'm doing. Maybe, I don't know. On Amber's sending me pictures of what she's doing on Friday. And it's going to be really nice. So now I've got the pressure to figure out what I'm going to be doing.
Well, I have my alarm set. I will be there.
You're going to be there here.
I'll be there, and I'll send you guys a text alert. I set my alarm to send you a text alert that Mar was going live with the cookie lunch break on Friday. So I'll send you an alert for that.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. So thank you very much for joining us. See you on Friday here with Han and Amber, Sweet Ams, and then back on Tuesday with Amy and myself. And we'll see you then. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.
Thanks. Bye, guys.